turn to business news now with our new business reporter, Madison Reedy. Welcome to Checkpoint, Madison.
Thank you very much.
Abano Healthcare is tackling Australia. What does that mean for the company? What are they doing?
Well, it's doing actually pretty well. People may not know the name Abano Healthcare Group, but they may know the name Lumino the Dentists. That's their brand that they operate here in New Zealand. They also have a brand in Australia across the ditch called Maven Dental Group, and they're doing pretty well. They released their numbers today. Net profit after tax of 1.7 million. That's up about 16% on their net profit after tax for the year end May last year. And they've gone on a bit of an acquisition rampage in Australia in the past year ended May. They bought 19 practices. Now, those weren't all in Australia, but most of them were. And since then, since May, they've bought another 3, and those 3 are actually larger than any of the 19 they bought the year prior. Yeah, and the chief executive, Richard Keys, said on the phone today to investors that they plan to exceed last year's acquisition rate, and the way they're going to measure that isn't necessarily the number that they're going to buy, but how much money they'll make them. So they're actually targeting not more acquisitions, but larger practices. So they're looking for larger practices, particularly in Victoria and New South Wales, where their brand doesn't really exist. And they, at the moment, have an Australian market share of about 2% for that Maven Dental Group brand, which isn't much, but the dental sector there is relatively untouched. It's a lot of, in fact, thousands of privately owned practices, and they're moving in there to really corporatise it. They want to have all of these private firms all under one roof, and they want that to be their roof. And that does really speak to a Trans-Tasman trend that we're seeing at the moment with a lot of large New Zealand firms, Fletcher Building being one. It's now going to start bidding on a lot of Australian infrastructure projects. It's going to go pretty hard at it. EBOS as well, which is another EBOS Group, which is the NZX listed healthcare company. They just signed a huge Australian $1 billion 3-year deal to supply pharmaceuticals to 400 Chemist Warehouse stores. Yeah, so I think we're going to start, we're starting on a trend to get some really large Trans-Tasman giants moving from New Zealand to Australia. But I mean, it makes sense because there's so much money to be made over there. I mean, if you even take a small slice of Australia's market, that can be the same size as our whole market.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I had no idea that Abano was quite that ambitious for expansion. Another company has been hit with miscalculated holiday pay. Who is it and how bad's the damage? Is miscalculated a sweet euphemism there? Are we being kind to that company? What do we know about what's happened here, Madison?
Miscalculations actually are quite common. The Holiday Pay Act is notoriously difficult to navigate. There are 2 different ways that you can calculate an employee's holiday pay, 2 completely separate ways, and you have to go with the one that pays the employee more. And you know, in a large firm with lots of employees, that's tricky. And this time it hit PGG Wrightson. They are a farming equipment seller, and they also, in fact, the largest in New Zealand, and they also sell online services for farm management as well. And they put out a warning on the NZX, on the stock market today, saying that they expected to make only $20 million profit, which to you and I sounds like a lot, but last year they made $46 million in profit. So not all of that forecast loss is going to come from the miscalculation. Only 6 million is, but 6 million they have to back pay staff for miscalculating their holiday pay. So they're about, I think, the 3rd to be hit by this so far, one of the larger firms. We had Bunnings Warehouse earlier this year, 11 million, and it was trying to find all of its old employees to pay that money back to them, and it most likely still is trying to find them. Spark, it was also reported that Spark put a call out. They haven't actually formally announced how much they're expecting to pay, but they did put a call out asking employees to front up if they thought that they had missed out on any holiday pay. And earnings season is next month. So, you know, this may be the year that all of these large firms, their bottom line is really affected by miscalculations in holiday pay.
Oh, thanks, Madison. Nicely explained. What happened on the markets today?
Well, up. Actually, the NZX top 50 rose 0.4%, so we were up 33 points to close at 8934. And the NZ dollar is buying at 91.8 cents against the Australian, 67.9 US cents, and 51.7 to the British pence.
Madison Reedy, our new and very welcome Auckland business reporter, joining Nona Peltier upstairs as part of the Auckland Bureau. Thanks, Madison. Really appreciate it.